Well, lots happening in Syria. Former British Commander Richard Kemp joins us now from Tel Aviv, Israel. Richard, it's always very kind of you to stay up so late because it's some ungodly hour there in the morning, 2 or 3 in the morning in Tel Aviv, but you're always great to come on outside, as we certainly do appreciate it. More importantly, our viewers appreciate your insights. What is going on in Syria? How bad is it? Is there a genocide of Christians and Alawites taking place that we keep hearing about? What's happening on the ground there, Colonel?
Well, it's always a pleasure to join you, Rowan, no matter what ungodly hour it is.
Thank you.
I think the situation in Syria is extremely serious, yet it was extremely predictable. While we have now a new leadership in Syria, so-called, which is led by a chap called Gilani, who was and maybe still is a senior Al-Qaeda leader. He wears a suit and tie and has been lauded by many European and probably, for all I know, Australian leaders as well, for being, the new light in Syria. I think, as you could predict, he has, of course, turned against those people that he sees as a threat to his regime, and those predominantly are the Alawites and the Christians and also the Kurds. And we've seen very large numbers of all members of those communities massacred in recent days and indeed the last week, in some cases subject to, before they were killed, subject to humiliation, like making them crawl along the ground, etc. And I've no doubt, I don't have any proof of this, but no doubt alongside that, most of the people who've been killed have been men, and I've no doubt it's been accompanied by mass rapes as well. That would be the standard procedure for the people that are carrying out these attacks. So I think we're far from seeing, a new Syria adhering to Western values or anything approaching non-violent values. I think was always a dream, and I'm very pleased to say that as soon as the Assad regime fell, Prime Minister Netanyahu in Israel here ordered the destruction of the large parts of the Syrian Armed Forces hardware. So at least they don't have that to not only oppress their own people, but to attack others.
Well, as you said, this is entirely predictable. We've seen it elsewhere with this sort of regime change, and the naive types in the West who celebrated this, really. And that shocking footage we have seen, the slaughter, the torture of innocent Syrian people. Where is the UN in all this, Richard? I mean, aren't they supposed to be there to protect the innocent in precisely these sort of situations?
Well, the UN, of course, is silent on this and is not really interested, which is the opposite perspective to the one they took on what's going on and what's been going on in Gaza and in Lebanon. And of course, they were the first, because people were being killed, mainly Hamas terrorists, but also, unfortunately, some Gazan civilians were being killed inadvertently by the IDF. The United Nations turned on them. They've had numerous resolutions against them, and indeed, the very man who issued who asked for arrest warrants to be issued against the Prime Minister of Israel and the former Defense Minister of Israel, the chief prosecutor of the ICC, Karim Khan, he was pictured very soon after Gilani got to power in Syria, shaking hands with the man. So I think this where